Huh? What?
You're gonna get me sick!
Oh, I mean, no one's really next to me.
You're gonna kill me!
Please leave me alone. I'm outdoors. And you're not even at risk. You're like 20.
Ah, I'm dying! He killed me of disease!
Stop!
I'm dead! You killed me!
Come on!
I'm dead forever now!
You're being
I'm
dramatic.
in hell! I'm dead now, burning in hell because you killed me!
Fine, okay, fine!
Good, thank you.
Boom shakalaka, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters around the world. It is your boy Chris Shule, aka the Esoteric Nordic, aka the Chocolate Nubian Sobrada from Ghana, West Africa, dropping the West Atlantic truth bombs here in Melbourne, Australia. You can rely on me because I am true blue. I'm on team meh. I'm not a black sheep. I'm just one of the ordinary sheep. I do everything that I'm told. Obedience is a virtue. I'm going to wear my mask. I'm going to get boom shakalaka, and I'm going to surrender my freedoms to the greater good, because I believe in working together as one. We are one and free, and I believe in communism. I think that fundamentally we all must learn not to have any individual freedoms and just do whatever the science tells us to do. I don't believe in self-ownership. I don't believe in God. I don't believe in rights. I think rights are disgusting. I think they're selfish. I think fundamentally we must bow down to authority. And don't tell me about how communism is evil. This is not communism, it's socialism. Socialism is totally different, don't you know? And look, this is not a human rights violation. All you conspiracy theorists out there, this is perfectly in line with human rights. I have a right to be safe. You don't have a right to be endangering it. You don't have a right to be willfully going out and spreading your dirty germs on everyone. I think that everyone should be forcibly boom shakalaka, because I'm such a good person. I believe in doing the right thing. I'm not scared. I think you guys are scared of what might happen to you if you just do what you're told. You might find that the world is a lot better. But because you're so caught up with your conspiracy theories, you just want to believe that the government is up to nonsense. I mean, yeah, look, I'm worried about what might happen to my family, but I'm not worried about me. I personally am willing to die if it means that everyone can be safe from this horrible virus. Are you willing to do that? As a communist, I think that you should all be forced to be sacrificed. Ladies and gentlemen, freaks and geeks. Oh, I'm sorry about my silly rant. I'm kind of thinking about some of the new policies that have been implemented and the crazy rationalizations people have for going along with these tyrannical impositions. Now, as of the 1st of May in New Zealand, not sure if you're aware, but the New Zealand government has made it mandatory for all government employees, essentially anyone working in government businesses, anyone involved in these quarantine sites, to be boom shakalaka. That's right, it's mandatory. But look, it's only for government employees. At least this is where it starts. It's only for government employees. It's just to show that this whole thing is safe. And then eventually, once the majority of people are boom shakalaka, oh, look, now we're just going to make it mandatory. Oh, look, you don't have to get boom shakalaka if you don't want to. You just can't be in this country anymore. Oh, this is the game that they're playing. And you know, the interesting thing is that by the 1st of May, you will be kicked out, or you will be, from what I understand, relocated to another more suitable form of employment if you do not receive the boom shakalaka, if you are a government employee. However, by June the 5th, you will have needed to get 2 boom shakalakas, 2 inoculations, in order for you to continue doing this work. And that begs the question, what other requirements are going to be imposed later on down the line? Will you require an inoculation every other month? These are questions. I don't know. Will you be required to disclose your location? Would you be required to be tracked? I mean, if it's okay to restrict someone's freedom for their safety because they don't know better, the sky's the limit, ladies and gentlemen. You can justify anything. It always starts with something minor like, we need to test you to make sure that you're not potentially spreading the virus. Then it goes to, oh, well, we need to track you to make sure that you're not going anywhere that is going to contaminate you. Then we need to inoculate you with a boom shakalaka. But look, you don't have to do any of this stuff. If you don't do any of this stuff, you just don't get to live in this society. Wow. And it's interesting because so many people seem to be in line with this. So many people seem to have this justification that, look, it's in order to keep everyone safe. They somehow haven't done the logical reasoning that most of us go through of where this leads to. This leads to a totalitarian system where essentially you have no individual rights, and essentially you can't do anything you want to do unless, of course, you get the government's permission. Now, granted, I realize some people are weirdly in line with that, but I think most of us that value our freedom, most of us that are not cowards, don't like the idea of that. Maybe it's just me. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. But apparently there is a $4,000 fine for those that are not willing to comply. And apparently if you have a legitimate reason for not complying, it's only a $1,000 fine. But I wonder what happens to people that don't comply. I mean, granted, if you don't comply, obviously you don't get to work in these government facilities. But what happens when this stuff is applied on individuals that aren't working in these government facilities? Are they going to be fined? Are they going to be locked up in quarantine centers, prevented from being able to move around? And look, ladies and gentlemen, I try to be a reasonable person with most issues, but you compromise your principles and you compromise yourself. When it comes to the topic of human rights, or animal rights for that matter, I'm talking about actual individual rights, the sanctity of life, sentience, I don't make any compromises. I don't make any compromises with governments trying to restrict people, because essentially it's an initiation of force. It's aggression, and it always leads to a violation of your life. And this is fundamentally what it comes down to. There's one side that wants to talk about how they care about saving lives. But when you think deeply about this, the whole concept of human rights is to actually save lives, because by the initiation of force, by forcing someone into their homes, not knowing their specific circumstances, not knowing what they need may need sunlight, they may need interaction with their friends and family. You may be very well killing these people. The problem always arises when people think that their good intentions allow them to force their will on others. Ladies and gentlemen, we don't know what's best for everyone in this world. But those that would have you believe that they do are so arrogant that they will implement what they think is best for you via force, and then lead to further impositions on your freedom until essentially you are nothing more than just a slave. And that may sound like hyperbole to a lot of people, but fundamentally, if you're living in a society where you can't do anything without permission, and you're saying, oh, look, you can do this, you can travel, you can do this, but fundamentally you need the permission of Big Daddy government, is that freedom? It sounds more like tyranny to me. Ladies and gentlemen, let us know what you think about this new mandate in New Zealand. Let us know what's going on in your country. Are you seeing similar restrictions being implemented? I mean, this is certainly the way we're going here in Australia. In Australia, mate, particularly in New South Wales at the moment, they're ramping up the restrictions. They've had a few more cases, or actual people that have contacted the Boom Shakalaka 19, and are now forcing people to go into concentration camps, quarantine camps, if they've been in any exposed areas. And this is how it always works. You know, whether it's the issue of drugs, the war on drugs, whether it's the war on terrorism, or whether it's the war on an invisible boogeyman. It's for your safety. We're doing this in order to protect you. You can use that argument to justify anything and everything. And look, I'll be honest with you. There was a time when it used to get me. You know, I've always believed in individual freedoms, but then I've thought, oh, what if there's a risk? What if there's a 70% chance that something's going to infect you? Or if you're going to pass on some virus? Shouldn't you be forced to restrict your freedom? And then I realized that fundamentally, these are all talismanic words. These are all imaginary ideas that no one knows exactly what's going to happen. Anytime we're talking about the future, anytime we're talking about risk, ladies and gentlemen, it's an illusion. We don't know definitively if something is going to happen if we're dealing with the future. And people always use this argument in order to justify the greatest evils, that, oh, well, you might be endangering someone. But philosophically, it doesn't exist. You can't restrict people's individual freedoms because you're worried about something that might happen to them. You have to allow people to make decisions for themselves. And if you don't, you move into the world of totalitarianism. You move into the world of communism, where there is no unalienable rights. Essentially, you can do anything for the greater good because you're trying to protect people. Essentially, people are slaves to the science or the state or to some great dictator. And one thing we've learned in history is that never ends well. Anyway, let us know what you think. Peace out. Keep it real. Don't drive in text. This is your chocolate Nubian soul brother, the Esoteric Noetic. Check out the Telegram group. Check out the High Blockchain if you want to check out more of my posts. And check out my podcast. It's on iTunes, The Crystal Journey. Boom shakalaka. Ow!
What is liberty?
What the? Who says you can't build muscle on a vegan diet?
What's it like being a hottie in the vegan community?
There are no political solutions, only technological ones.
The economics of the system don't allow multiple competing systems to survive.
Engineering, technology, these arts of humanity, they are magic.